computer system programmed to destroy the world. It has sent machines back through time. Some to kill him, one to protect him.
Come with me if you want to live.
Where are we?
Same where, different when.
The records are in here. We need them crystal.
No, you don't. It's a waste of time.
What are you going to do when you find John Connor?
I'm going to kill him and hang his head on a pike for all to see.
She's stronger and faster.
We have to kill her, John.
What's going on, everyone? The Great Talent here, and today we're going to talk about Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That's right, the old, short-lived Terminator television series brought to us by Fox and destroyed by Fox, because whatever Fox creates, they end up fucking destroying if it isn't Family Guy or football, let's be real. But anyway, with that being said, before we get into it, I just want to thank everyone for stopping by. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get going. So, first and foremost, well, secondly now, so I already said first and foremost. So, secondly, I just want to go on record for saying I'm a huge Terminator fan. I have all of the good movies that are not complete shit on Blu-ray and 4K, such as Terminator 1, 2, I even have a soft spot for Terminator 3, and Salvation. Those four movies are in my heart. They have special places in my heart. Everything after that, shit. Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles has evolved and blossomed. It started off in the first season. I watched both seasons. It's only 2 seasons. Like I said, it was very short-lived in 2008 to 2009, about 13 plus years ago. And it started off right away, right off the bat. It started like it had me, like it fucking just had you. It just, what it does is it grabs you right away from the beginning, from the get-go, and it just is a complete roller coaster ride from then on in. And it has enveloped such a, again, like a special place in this man's heart, because I wish I could, if I could find it on Blu-ray, I would own it, but at the same time, I kind of don't, because the way it ended was not fair, because it ended on a cliffhanger, and they thought they were going to get renewed for a 3rd season, and it never happened. And we're going to get into the breakdown. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm going to try and keep the spoiler free, because I really want any Terminator fan out there, or a fan of sci-fi, action and thrillers and suspense, to actually experience this show for yourself. You can watch this on Hulu. It's included with the membership. It's 2 seasons. It's only about 31, 32 episodes in its entirety, about 45-minute runtime per episode. It is it's a very smart, it's a very poignant show. Acting is really good. It's very creative, and I loved how they deep dive into the Terminator lore, in such depth that I've never even thought of or even dreamed that they would do. Such as, for example, it's not really a spoiler. It's just kind of like an example of what happens within the series. A Terminator gets obliterated, completely obliterated. He gets fucking beheaded, folks. He gets beheaded, and this one Terminator, because there's a plethora of different Terminators that get sent back to try and kill John Connor while he's on the run. That's the story of the show, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to stay focused on my thought here. So the creativeness knows no bounds in this show. One example of it is that one Terminator gets taken, like John and his mother and Sarah, and the new Terminator, played by Summer Glau, the new Terminator fucking beheads this one Terminator that's after John, and the head is beheaded, but the chip is still inside, so it's in a junkyard or whatever, and it signals to its body that it's connected to, synced up with, to find the head, reattach it somehow, and then go get a fucking skin graft, and it's crazy how you can actually see how the layers of human tissue over the fucking endoskeleton is formed, and I'm like, wow, this is really in depth. Not to mention a crazy amount of character development that goes on within this series. Like I said, it's a very short-lived series, and We'll get to that soon, but I want to also talk. I just want to briefly talk about the plot. So it takes place. The first season takes place 2 years after the events of Terminator 2: Judgment Day. In this universe, Terminator 3 has not happened yet, nor it might not happen because we're trying to prevent Judgment Day. Remember that. Story of this is like, so they're still trying to prevent Judgment Day, where the machines rise up, Skynet rises up and takes over and destroys humanity. And 2 years after that, John's like 16 years old now or whatever, and somehow the machines are still after him. And one Terminator that he reprograms, he sent back to be his bodyguard. This time, it embodies a female, a very, very hot female, played by Summer Glau, and who was not my girlfriend in this series. So anyway, she like protects him and whatnot. They are on the run, and one in the first opening pilot, somehow they get transported via a time portal to 10 years later. It takes place in 1997, so they get transported 10 years into the future in 2007, which is kind of around the time of the present day of filming this series. And now they're fugitives. They were on the run from being a part of a bank heist and all that shit. So, and the story just evolves from then on in. They're constantly on the run and dealing with a lot of shit while being on the run. The main theme of the Terminator series has always been, you're always on the go. You're always on the move. You don't have time to stay still, because if you stay still, you're going to be vulnerable, and you're going to risk getting caught. And I think this show does a very good job at balancing kinetic motion, like always being on the run, with potential motion being with the men's character development. And I think that it does it well, because you can even see Cameron, the Summer Glau's Terminator character, the T-900, you can see how, even though she's a Terminator and reprogrammed by the future John Connor, you can see, and sent back, you can see that she's still a machine deep down, but she's trying to evolve. And that is another good terminology to use for this series, is evolution, because the machines are constantly learning. Remember, the chip inside of their Terminators' heads, it's a neural net processor. It's a learning computer. So it's constantly learning. And by the end of the short-lived series, Cameron goes from being this cold-blooded killer to almost humanoid. And there's just one scene that John and her share. While albeit it's a little weird in the last episode, it's kind of touching. It's kind of they're connecting on an emotional level. And it's crazy because she's a machine. They almost got to a point where I was like, why don't you just stop the fucking foreplay and just have fucking cyborg sex, what the fuck. But anyway, with that being said, I also want to touch on the fact of the matter that Lena Headey's performance here, Cersei Lannister herself, is tremendous. She does a phenomenal job as Sarah Connor. I think she's probably one of the best portrayals of Sarah Connor that I've seen, next to Linda Hamilton in the OG Terminator 1 and 2. She's not better than Linda Hamilton, don't get me wrong, in the first two Terminators, but she comes damn close. I will say that much. And also, we get a little glimpse of the Kyle Reese. You get to see Kyle Reese. His brother is brought back and whatnot. I mean, it's not a spoiler. He's in the credits. And it's pretty cool. They become a big part of this series. The series also touches on, again, like I keep saying, immense character development, such as it touches on bullying, suicide and stuff like that, and redemption, and how far the human mind can be pushed before they literally snap, kind of almost like a computer, how much pressure can you put on a CPU before it just burns out. And so on and so forth. But there's a lot of there's not so much they do a lot of flashbacks, but at the same time they do a lot of flash forwards where you get to see what's happening in 2027 when Judgment Day actually is fully in motion, and when John Connor started to develop the time displacement fields, and sending people back and forth and whatnot, and the machines, getting after the machines and sending people back, and so on and so forth. Also, season 1 is just pretty much them just constantly being on the run from these T-800 series, T-888s they're called, T-888s, and just surviving that. But season 2 introduces the T-1000, and it has such a really, really great fucking twist at the end of the final season, where it makes me so fucking angry, folks, that it ended, because what actually happened in the end of season 2, I want to talk about, but I can't. Just know that everything is just fucking, don't forget everything you know. And at the end of this season, it's like everything, they just fucking hit the I want to say the reset button, but at the same time, it's like so many questions are left unanswered that it should be criminal that Fox did what it did to this show. Yeah, I don't understand. Just because they don't get the ratings that they wanted, they just act something. I mean, they've done that with. They have such a track record for destroying shows that barely after its inception that you don't even give the shows time to like mature and blossom. And this show was on the verge of blossoming. I mean, it's not just like a cookie cutter show where it's just like run of the mill, where everything just like a sitcom where everything just resets at the end of each episode. No, there are constant stakes here, like fucking like watching Game of Thrones, like a series like that, or like The Walking Dead, where there's always stakes. There's always fucking stakes at hand. Every single episode is like built with such the promise of like careful construction and of like different scenarios. And don't get too attached to anyone is all I'm going to say, because it's like the Game of Thrones effect. It's like anyone could be a target, and that's it. And the way that John Connor and Sarah Connor deal with like constant loss, and while always being on the run and having to be on guard, and like constantly looking over your shoulder to see what's going to happen next, the way they deal with this grief, it's just kind of like, it's brilliant, because you think that they're like they're not dealing with this grief, but at the same time they are. But sometimes you just don't have time to deal with the grief because you're constantly worried about survival, not only of yourself, but of the rest of humanity and mankind. I mean, there was this one scene in the latter half of the second season where something really drastic happens to one of John's closest friends that he made during his travels, and the way he just dealt with that was so cold-blooded and like heartless, but at the same time, he just had like a breakdown. And then you're like, wow, you're constantly on the move. And finally, when your emotions finally catch up to you, like you just start like blubbering like a little baby. And it's like, it's heartbreaking to watch this happen. But at the same time, it's like wow, like these people they're humans. They're responding to human like emotions and like an emotional humanoid situations, but at the same time, in order to survive, you have to actually be as cold and calculating as a machine just to survive. And it really digs deep into the human psyche and really just makes you think about like life in general. Like, if you're pushed to the limit, are you really going to maintain your humanity, or are you going to become something like less than that, or you're going to lose your humanity? The theme of this show, there's so many themes of this show, but one that stands out in particular is like never losing your humanity and trying not to lose your humanity. And if you do, then you're no better than a machine. And even toward the end of this short-lived series, Cameron, played by Summer Glau, even becomes to realize that, like how Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, the T-800, in Terminator 2 said a very, very, very important line, which I'm going to leave you with at the end of this, before I wrap it up and give you my review. He said one very important line that Cameron kind of circled back to and did a callback to in a little bit, not in that sense, but kind of, sort of, at the end of this series, where she was just like, look, you don't understand how I work, but I am, deep down, I'm a machine, but I'm trying to get beyond that. I'm trying to understand humans so I can become like a human. Kind of like that shit happened in Bicentennial Man. If you've ever seen Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, very fucking emotional movie too, where the quest for an android, like a droid, to become a human, and he achieves that. So I think that's what they were going for here, where Cameron was trying to become human. She admired and loved John Connor so much in this show, she wanted to like love him because she admired his resilience and his heart. Like, he had a big heart, and it's just amazing. And like I said, I'm going to leave you with Arnold Schwarzenegger's line that he said in Terminator 2 that really stuck with me. It really hit close to home. And for a machine to say that, it's like, wow, you are kind of understanding humanity. And that's what kind of happened in this show here, where I would love to see the evolution, but it just kind of got sidelined way too quick. So here you go, folks.
I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do.
That gets me every time. It just does. It just, I don't know why. It just makes me all like emotional and shit. But with that being said, I've already talked too much. But just know that this show is a gem. It's a diamond in the rough. And with all the nonsense fucking shows that are on TV nowadays, this is one that, like, literally, I spent 2 weeks watching this show, and it was probably the best 2 weeks in television I've had in a very, very long time. With the exception of like anything Star Wars on Disney that kind of transpired that had Luke and the past like with I'm talking about Mandalorian season 2. But anyway, before I keep rambling on, just gonna drop my score and I'm gonna be out. So yeah, if I had to score Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's a great show. I think it's a great series, a great short-lived series. The only downside is that there's some little tweaks I would do in the writing, like kind of some things don't make sense. There's a couple of things that loose ends that they don't tie very well in time. Not important, like not in regards to like important plot threads, but like on subplot threads where it's like, you know, the B level plot threads. They're like, you're gonna forget about that. Don't worry about it. Just focus on this. Don't focus on that. Little tweaking could be a little bit perfected there, but it's still a great show. And I think any fan of Terminator or like sci-fi shows would really get a lot out of this show. Plus, Summer Glau, she's stupid fucking cute in it, and every time I look at her, I heart melts. So, yeah. So anyway, with that being said, that's my review of Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll be back. That's all I could say. Catch everyone next time. Thanks, as always, for stopping by.